Hello lovely Simmers, SimsEclaire here and welcome back to my channel. For today's video we are doing another community lot for my save file. So for this build we are doing the Oasis movie bowl. So in my area where I live, our movie theater is like right next door to our bowling alley, and I really wanted there to be this kind of like retro style movie theater here in Oasis Springs because I felt like that kind of just tied the world together, because this is a new development here. Joffrey and his company have been kind of trying to remodernize everything, but obviously there was something here first, and I think that this movie bowl is the last remaining non-modernized building left that he hasn't quite touched yet, and I think that he's doing that on purpose. So I think Zara, his teammate, is really trying to push him to go ahead and remodernize this, you know, split up the buildings, maybe make it an actual functioning bar, not really like this teen hangout. But I think his eldest son, Johnny, you know, Johnny Zest, who's now disowned, I think Johnny used to hang out here when he was a kid, and maybe Joffrey and him came here and bowled together. So Joffrey has like this really, like, this place has a special like home in Joffrey's heart, so he's refusing to redo it. So this is the last non-modernized building here in Oasis Springs. So it sits nestled among all the modern restaurants and the modern bars and the strip mall, and it kind of just stands out. But it's also, because of that, I think it's become a very popular place. You know, tourists come to see it because it has that old classic charm. The neighborhood people love to come and watch movies here and bowl here because it still reminds them of how the neighborhood used to be. So I think that this is kind of just like that old classic spot. And like I said, where I live, the movie theater and the bowling alley are right next to each other. They're not in the same building, but I kind of wanted, because I knew I wanted both in this world, and so I thought that the best way to do that would be to kind of combine them. So on the left is going to be the movie theater. You can see that by the board that I used from I think it was Get Famous, and then the right side is going to be the bowling alley, and this lot will function as a bar. So obviously we don't have actual bowling alleys or actual movie theaters here in The Sims, which is kind of ridiculous because we have the movie hangout pack and we have the bowling stuff pack, but we didn't get the lot types to match with them, so it's a little sus. But I decided to make it run as a bar because we did get the bar with the bowling alley pack, so I figured that would be the easiest way to make this lot functional. And because I have to have TVs in a bar lot, the movie theater kind of allows for the TVs. So I thought, even though this is kind of like a teen hangout, I thought bar was probably the best way to go. And you could kind of see how I was decorating the back there for a little bit. It does end up kind of switched because I forgot how long the bowling alleys are in this game. And when I went to go place the bowling alleys, they literally took up the entire space of the bowling area, so I did have to go back in, and off camera I kind of switched around how things, like the layout of everything, so that way the bowling alleys could fit inside the building. I almost thought about maybe making them outside just so I didn't have to switch, because I really was happy with how this outside looked, but I decided to go ahead and just switch the back end because that wasn't as fancy as the front. But right now you can see I'm kind of adding some decorative pieces. So I was looking at pictures of old movie theaters and old bowling alleys, and a lot of old buildings have these like jutting out pieces that almost look like they're a part of the building, but they're very thin, and we can't do that in The Sims because all of the times that we like put a wall on the outside of the building, they're exactly that one tile long, and it doesn't look exactly the same. So I went ahead and tried to recreate it with these columns, and I used the one from Eco Lifestyle because it gave it that kind of industrial feel, as though maybe this used to be a warehouse that was then converted or something like that. And I really like, I know I said this before, but I really like how the exterior on this turned out. I haven't built a movie theater before in The Sims or a bowling alley because obviously, like I said, they don't really function. Well, bowling alleys do function, but they're a little glitchy. So I haven't really built any of these in my game, but I've always wanted to try and build a movie theater ever since we got the stuff from Get Famous to do on the outside, like these two signs that I'm using. And I thought that this would be the perfect world to put this in, and I really like how I used the wood textures to kind of break up the old style brick. And then I have the ticket window up here in the front where I kind of merged two windows together with some shelves, and that way it created a little section where like the tickets would be sold. And when we get onto the inside, you'll actually see me place some counters and some cash registers in there. Now obviously the cash registers aren't functional because this is not a retail lot, but you know, they're there for some show. And then we're doing some quick landscaping, and then we are moving on to the interior. So this is the bowling alley side, and like I said, I did have to extend it a little bit. And I gave the bowling alley side some tables, and then also the bar, obviously, because it did come with this pack, and you need a bar for the lot to function as a bar. And then I'm also going to pull out these Snowy Escape couches, because the bowling alley where I have, there's technically couches on either side, but I didn't know if I'd have enough space to do that here, so I wanted to create this like L shape, and I didn't like how that looked with the ones that we got from the bowling stuff pack, so I decided to use these Snowy Escape ones because I thought the colors kind of matched. And then I paired it with the tiny living tables because they were small enough to fit in the crevice of the couches. And I do want to say that the bowling alleys are functional. Those couches are not too close. While I was taking the screenshots, so you'll guys see it if you watch the screenshots at the end, a bowling team did show up to bowl in one of the lanes, and they were having no issues whatsoever. So the bowling alleys are still functional despite how close these are to the bowling alleys. And then I'm placing a couple of the bowling alley decorations, or I should say the bowling stuff decorations, you know, the rug and then the shoe rack and the bowling ball rack. And then I'm placing these pin dividers behind the bar as kind of like a decorative piece, because they could either be bowling pins or they could be bar bottles, so I kind of thought that maybe they were playing off of it. And then there's this house scoreboard, and I thought that maybe that was like, because there are bowling teams that randomly pop up here when you have bowling alleys in your game, so I thought maybe that was like who the winning team was for that month and like their championships, so I thought that that was kind of a cool thing to add. And then over here I was initially going to do 2 bathrooms, but I really wanted there to be an arcade in this build because like I said, I thought that this was a teen hangout, so I thought that there would be games and like pinball and stuff like that. Well, we don't have pinball, but like foosball and stuff like that, and something for the kids to do while maybe the teens are hanging out, or something for the teens to, you know, waste their money on. So I thought that that would be really fun to add here, and I didn't have enough space in the actual bowling alley section, so I decided to scrap the second bathroom. And then back here is where I put the arcade, so I put ping pong or beer pong, I guess juice pong is what it is, and then a foosball table, and then this arcade game that we got. I actually think that it's base game because I don't remember it popping up on any of the pack lists. But maybe it did and I just missed it. Let me know in the comments down below if you know what pack it came from. But over here I'm placing this scoreboard from Get Together up on the board above the ping pong table. And then I'm going to place a couple of decorations. I really didn't know how I wanted to decorate this area. Like, I knew I wanted an area, but I didn't know what I wanted to put here, because in the bowling alley where I have, the arcade area is just kind of like really dark and there's no decorations on the walls or anything like that. So I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do, but I was trying to bring the flow from the bowling alley over and use the same decorations and some of the same patterns and stuff like that. So I hope you guys like this room. I think it'll be definitely a lot of fun in gameplay, especially because I've never played with this arcade piece anymore, like this arcade game. So I think it'd be a lot of fun to see what happens with it, because like I said, I've never even seen it before, but when I was building this, it popped up, which is why I wanted to add this room when I saw it there. And then I'm adding a couple more decorations, and then I think if I remember correctly, we are about to start working on the movie theater. So back here is where I put the concession stand for the movie theater, and I put a countertop here that's kind of like where they sell through the concessions, and then I put a couple of refrigerators, and then I do 2 popcorn machines, an ice cream machine, and a sink. And I figured your Sims could come over here, make some popcorn, have some ice cream, get some drinks and stuff, and then go upstairs to watch the movies, because the movies are actually upstairs, the theaters are upstairs. And then as you can see, I did add the countertops and the cash register into the little movie box thing, the ticket box, that's what it's called. And then I'm doing some decorative seating here, you know, maybe someone's waiting for their friend to show up for the movie or something like that. So it's just a bowling stuffed couch and then some plants. And then we're adding a couple more decorations on the walls. I'm mixing the Get Famous posters with the movie Hangout posters, so that way we can kind of see all the different movies from The Sims, even though we only can watch the ones from movie Hangout. Obviously they had other movies in mind because they gave us these Get Famous posters, so maybe one day we will get the Get Famous movies as well. At least I'm hoping so, because I would love to see if like your sim was an actor or an actress. I'd love to see it pop up that they could watch the movie that they had been acting in that day. Or like the next week, it's like, oh, this movie just came out, and then you could watch it on TV for that week, and then it would disappear. Like, I think that would be such a cool interaction. And then don't mind me, I don't know why my camera just stopped there. I thought I edited all that out, but maybe I didn't. And then I'm going through and adding some windows just so the exterior has a little bit more cohesiveness. And then back here is kind of a back patio area. So I initially built this because I had contemplated making this restaurant also function, or making this bar also function as a restaurant, but I didn't have the space for a full kitchen. Now, if you guys want to extend the the upstairs area and put the full kitchen upstairs, that would probably be the best way to do it. But it would take up a lot of space, and I think personally it would kind of mess up the exterior, but it would be totally up to you guys. I just wasn't 100% sure where I would want to place it. But in here is probably my favorite part. So this room in particular, because this room was wide enough that I could do it, with platforms, I used the sloping stairs that you always see in movie theaters, because, you know, they always have the ones closest to the back or higher up, so that way no one's, like, views are blocked. And I thought that it would be such a fun idea to use these university chairs and then play with platforms a little bit and raise some of them up and lower some of them, so that way you kind of had this stepping stone. And yeah, I thought instead of using like stairs and stuff, your Sims do just have to walk up the platforms, but I'm pretty sure that it's functional. I did leave one block empty on every platform, which is why I changed it over from the chairs, or from the couches to the chairs. And then your Sims will sit in pairs on each of the platforms. Now, I'm not 100% sure, for being totally honest, if your Sim can get to the chair on the very edge of the wall, because I don't know if they can walk over there, but they can at least sit on the ones on the far, or on the ones closest to the inner side of the aisle. And I totally wasn't paying attention to that when I was building this. I just realized it, but I think it should be okay, because obviously you won't need this many seats anyway, and I highly doubt you'd be able to get your Sims to all sit in one row even if you tried, so, or even if it was possible. So in theory, I think for the fact that the Sims would do whatever they wanted to do anyway, I think that this works out just fine. But basically all three movie rooms are the same. Now obviously you can tell some of them aren't as wide as the others, so I did have to kind of makeshift some of the decorations and some of the different chairs and aisles and stuff. So this room only has one aisle for the chairs, and then the other room has two, but they're not the same length, because the room is just a little bit shorter. So each room is technically a little different because just the sizes are different, but in theory they're all exactly the same. They all have the same couches and the same platform step idea to make it look a little bit more like a normal movie theater, even if it won't quite function as a movie theater. And on that point, you are going to have to just kind of have your Sims watch movies together, because there's no like movie theater function, so you are just going to have them sit in the same room and watch the movie of your choice together. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye!